What's up guys, I'm Jack, this is Driven by Data and we're back with another video. But today we're doing something a little bit different. As you already know from the title, I bought a car. And not just any car, but a Saab 9.5 Aero HOT. So in this video I'm going to tell you all about the car, how I came to buy it, and give you a good look around it. But first, a bit of context. A couple of weeks back, I made a video titled 5 cheap, fast, practical cars you can pick up for under 2k that are ULEZ compliant. And the reason I made that video is because I was actually looking for a car that met those exact criteria. If you haven't seen that video already, I'll put a link up here and I'll put another one at the end of the video, so make sure to check it out afterwards. So at the end of that video, after comparing all the data, I said that I would probably go for either the Mondeo ST220 or the Saab 9.5. And clearly I put my money where my mouth is and I bought one. So I'm really excited to share with you guys what I've picked up. I think it's a really great buy, and I'd love to hear your feedback in the comments. As always, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe down below if you haven't already. Thank you for everyone who has been subscribing over the last couple of weeks. We've been making some really good progress towards our next goal of 1,000 subscribers. Anyway, let's get into it. We're on the way to Weymouth to buy a car. Facebook Marketplace for £1,000, hopefully, or maybe less. I think it's a very good buy. I'm very excited. I haven't had my own car for a long time. Stay tuned. So I've been keeping an eye on eBay, Facebook Marketplace, Auto Trader for a while for either a Mondeo ST220 or a Saab 9.5, and to be honest, nothing had quite popped up that I was really interested in. But then one day I came across this advert on Facebook Marketplace. Now you do have to be careful on Marketplace as there's a lot of scams and time wasters. So when I first saw this listed for the round number of £1,000, I was a bit suspicious because that's often the amount that scammers put cars up for. But when I clicked into the ad, the description looked like it had been written by an actual human, so that was a good start. We can see it says it's a 2.3 litre petrol turbo. We know it's the Aero model from the title. It says the MOT is due at Feb next year, so it's not that long, but at least it has one. That might factor into why the price is a bit low. It does say it's only had 2 previous owners, and the original owner supposedly was the Saab treasurer for the owners club, so that's a nice touch. The seller goes on to say that it's a comfortable drive and it's a lower tax bracket. I mean, that's because it's pre-2006 and they changed the tax rules then, but that's by the by. He mentions that the dashboard features are working. That's kind of a weird thing to mention. I guess it's a nod to the fact that these LED screens can fail on these cars, but it's nice that they work. Supposedly it has full service history, but it doesn't mention when the last service was. It says it has rear parking sensors. Whether or not they work is another thing. At the end, the seller mentions that it's an ideal workhorse type car, which to me suggests it probably has a bunch of cosmetic imperfections. And then underneath, he mentions bad bits as being dents on the bonnet from storm damage. So that's a little bit concerning, storm damage, and only 1 key. Not too bothered about 1 key. To be honest, I can't remember the last time I bought a cheap car that had 2 keys. Somehow people always manage to lose their second key and keep on to the other one. So the listing says it's 122,000 kilometers, but that's probably miles. For some reason, Facebook always defaults to kilometers for the UK. From the pictures, it looks pretty clean, so I messaged the chap and we spoke on the phone later that day. I was a bit concerned about rust because I saw that it was located in Weymouth, right by the sea, with the salty air, but I ran through a few questions with him over the phone and he sounded like a genuine guy, so I arranged to go down to Weymouth with the wife at the weekend to look at the car. He was even kind enough to give us a lunch recommendation in Weymouth Harbour so we can make the most of our trip. Now, whenever I'm going to look at a car, I do like driving in a car and not putting myself in a situation where I have to buy the car or where I feel like I should buy it to avoid having to take public transport back. So I went there knowing I'd be happy to walk away and we'd still had a good day if it wasn't as expected. Once we got there, I had a good look over the car, and as expected, I did notice a bit of rust coming in a couple of areas, namely the dogleg sections by the rear arches. These are common on these cars, as I mentioned in the other video, so despite him saying on the phone that he couldn't see any rust, I wasn't completely surprised to find there was some here. Anyway, let's start it up in jet pilot style, in here, in the middle. Ooh. ABS park, airbag, engine light. Oh, it's a bit of a knock, that probably means it needs an engine mount. I also noticed a knock on starting the car, which sounded to me like it could be a worn engine mount, and I know that people do polybush these cars, so again, that wasn't necessarily super surprising, but it is a bit of a pain. The engine itself was smooth and it ran well. The oil looked clean, there was no sign of milkiness in it, and there was no misfires from the engine. The rust and whatnot, I'm thinking like 800 realistically. Maybe even a bit less. But we need to take it for a drive, really. So after taking it from a test drive, I wanted to negotiate a deal. He was asking £1,000, but given the rust, the general cosmetic imperfections, and the engine knock, I suggested a price of £700, and he was willing to accept it. Right, here we are. Services, nearly home. So far, driving very nicely. Very happy with it. Sipping the fuel. So yeah, all good. So I'm very pleased. Drove it back home 2 hours from Weymouth and it had 0 issues. A few days later visited my dad, again another long drive, no issues whatsoever. So this is my Saab 9.5 Aero HOT, which I picked up for £700. And I've come to my dad's in the countryside for a short weekend break, and now I have some space to actually clean it, which I don't have on the side of Slough High Street. But first, let's have a walk around the car and see what needs doing. The bonnet has storm damage from some tiles, but I've got a new bonnet on the way. The wiper arms are really bad. We need a new number plate, a new Saab badge. We've got a scratch here. The plastic colour's fading a little bit, although you can't see it so much in the rain because that kind of hides it. We definitely need a new shark fin. Got some flaking Saab badges, probably from eBay, so we need some new ones of those. Discs will need changing at some point, but they're alright for now. Got a little bit of rust here. Let's take a look inside. That has come off the front passenger heater thing. I need some more clips for it. But overall, very, very clean. Super easy, much easier than the Volvo to open these. And it was there where we were able to give it a good clean on the driveway. The seller had described it as a workhorse, and I think that makes sense. There was a lot of cosmetic things that I noticed that needed doing. Just for example, the number plates were very worn. They immediately dated the car. The wheels were curbed all round, every single one. The wiper arms were going a bit rusty, missing some paint. There were big dents and paint damage in the bonnet from the storm, but luckily that hadn't affected anything else by the looks of it. The wheel sensor caps were peeling off, probably old eBay ones that needed replacing. The shark fin aerial was peeling badly. The passenger wing mirror was scuffed. There was green algae, moss, dirt stuff in every single rubber that I could find. The drains were clogged with leaves. The door jambs were dirty. The interior was reasonably clean, to be fair, but overall it seemed like this car just hadn't had much love over the last year or so. He did say that he loved the car and he was hanging on to it, but he had a work van which he was now using, so the car was just kind of sitting on the drive. And when I looked at the MOT history, his story checked out. I mean, he said he'd had the car for about 10 years, and looking at it, it had very consistent mileage, bar COVID and this last year. There was a couple of advisories on the MOTs, but nothing I was too concerned about. Overall, very happy with this car. As you can see, I set about today giving it a really good clean, cleaning out all of this algae, cleaning out all of these rubbers, fixing the wheels, giving it some paint, and I think really just with a bit of love and attention, this car can really shine. So there we go, guys. That is my new to me Saab 9.5 Aero HOT Estate, and at the time that I picked this up across all of the used car marketplaces, so eBay, Auto Trader, Gumtree, Facebook Marketplace, this was the cheapest Saab 9.5 Aero HOT that was advertised. It was up for £1,000, as you know, and I managed to pick it up for even less than that, so I'm really, really pleased. I'm probably unusually excited about an old Saab, but the thing is, I remember watching Top Gear as a kid, and I remember that episode where Clarkson test drove the Saab 9.5 Aero, and he said that it was quicker than a Porsche 911 Turbo from 40 to 70. I remember watching that as a kid thinking, wow, what a cool car that is, and I would love one day to own one. And here you go, in a weird way, making my childhood dreams come true. Obviously I wanted many, many cars. The Saab 9.5 wasn't the only one, but we're ticking them off gradually, and hopefully together on this channel we can tick through some more. As you saw in the video, I've already set about giving it a lot of love and attention and helping to fix some of those little niggles and little problems that it had. You couldn't really tell, but my dad, myself and my brother spent honestly a full day taking that car apart, giving it a really good clean and addressing so many of these little issues. And since that day, I've done even more work on the car, replacing the bonnet, new plates, replacing the shark fin, general cleaning, and we've driven it all over the country. I've done, I think, nearly 2,000 miles in the car already. But don't worry, I will definitely be doing more of my top 5 car videos. They aren't going anywhere. This is just an exciting thing that I thought you guys might enjoy. Now, I've already got a few ideas in mind of what other videos I could make with this car, going through all of its history and documentation. It's got all the original Saab documentation, the original bill of sale, I think. It's got the original Saab dealer maps, it's got all sorts of stuff, and it's got full service history for its entire life. I thought it might be quite interesting to look through all of that. Let me know if you think that's interesting or completely boring. I also thought I could do like a Doug DeMuro tribute style quirks and features video, and I've been wanting to make a trip to the Nürburgring for a very, very long time, and maybe this is the car to do it in. Comfy, powerful. Who knows, maybe we should be doing a trip to the Nürburgring. Let me know if you would like to see that. I'm also getting it looked over by a Saab specialist in the next couple of weeks. I was able to identify a few things on the car as you saw, but it's good to get it up on a ramp and have a proper look, which I can't really do on a driveway or on the road. But I'd really love to hear from all of you guys in the comments what you thought about this video. Did you enjoy it? Would you like to see some more content like this, more content about the Saabs? Let me know down below. Or if you just want to say, no, Jack, stick to your top 5 lists, that's what we're here for. then fair enough, that's good feedback and I appreciate it. And if you made it this far, please be sure to click subscribe here, check out that top 5 fast practical cars for under 2k here, and I will catch you guys in the next video.